He is the one, the only. His name is Simon Huck, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to the Vibe, Simon.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
So I want to just kind of give people a background as to set you up as to who you are. You are the CEO, co-founder of the emergency preparedness brand Judy.
Yep.
So I found this to be such a brilliant idea because I live in Los Angeles and we have earthquakes, and I've always been wanting an earthquake kit, and you never really know how to make your own or like what exactly you need. And so you guys
Right.
kind of take the legwork out of it for you. You go on your website and you can order an earthquake kit and it just comes to you.
And it's totally curated. It's like completely Marie Kondoified. Basically, 2 years ago, my co founder and I, Josh, we were sitting around and we were talking about all these stories. We had friends and family who lived in California, lived in Florida, lived in Canada, and they all had the same kind of horror story around emergencies. They weren't prepared for wildfires. They weren't prepared for like a home fire. And we thought, wait a minute, why is there no actual physical product or brand helping American families or all families prepare for emergencies? Like it just didn't make sense to us. And we were probably kind of strange people to be getting into this. My background is in entertainment marketing. I have an agency that connects brands with celebrities. I've had it for 17 years. So, like, what the hell am I doing in emergency preparedness? But I was determined and totally motivated by kind of the higher purpose that, in these emergency situations, if you give people the tools, like the physical products and the education, you can quite literally save lives. So that was our journey 18 months ago. And we launched 10 months ago. So about a month later, COVID hit.
Oh, so I didn't realize how new your company was.
Oh, it's just a baby.
Just a baby. Well, congrats, because I just saw that you launched was it the Judy Poopery? Well,
Yeah, no, I know
wait, so
it's insane. So we did a collaboration called the Judy for Your Booty for bathroom emergencies. So we did this really fun collab. We sent out toilets to kind of friends in our Judy community that had like flowers coming out of it. And it's really the kit is to help you go to the bathroom. So when like an emergency strikes, we take care of you.
first of all, I saw Chrissy Teigen post it on her Instagram and was like peeing laughing just because her what's the word I'm looking for?
Commentary.
Yeah, her commentary and just her no, it's not commentary, but her what is it?
Like her sense of humor. I
Her
mean,
sense of yes, her
yeah.
sense of humor is just beyond to me.
No, it's beyond. She
It's
put the toilet into her living room,
yeah,
which
she, like
is
it's like
like
as an art
everything.
piece.
Yeah.
But I just find that to be the best thing too, because I'm one of those people where I can't go to this is probably TMI, but like I can't go to the bathroom unless I'm like in my home because
Oh.
it's one of those things. So the fact that you have like a little kit that you can just throw in your purse and just take it with you wherever you go is so smart.
Oh my God, no, I have stage fright. I can't even pee in public. I mean, I need like complete silence, headphones on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is so funny. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to kind of set the scene is because you took this business that you had and you now have a podcast that is related to it because it's called Emergency Contact, and
Yep.
what the premise of your podcast is talking to celebrities and who their emergency contact is. So I
Right.
think it's such a brilliant idea. And your podcast is new, right? You just launched this?
Podcasting was so new to me, but we just launched it 4 weeks ago.
The concept is so funny because I brought this up on the morning show a bunch because we all have an emergency contact. You go to the doctor and you fill it out. And I've always had my best friend as my emergency contact. And then you get, a boyfriend or a significant other or whatever. And then you have those thoughts of, should I change my emergency contact
Right.
or should I keep that the same? Like we kind of all have
Totally.
that.
And it's kind of a big deal to change.
It's a big deal to change.
Huge.
It's huge. And so I think it's so cool that you kind of are talking to celebrities and finding out who their emergency contact is. Cause I think a lot of us would be surprised as to who some of their emergency contacts are.
Totally. And some of them are their partner who are, relatively private, and some are their best friends from high school or for childhood that aren't in the public eye. And I think those relationships are super fascinating. Like we just interviewed Kourtney Kardashian. I want to know who Kourtney Kardashian's high school friend is who went to college with her. Like, what was Kourtney Kardashian like in her dorm room? Like, that's what I want to double click on. And
Yeah. Wait,
so
is that who her emergency contact is?
It was someone who she has like went to high school with. Yeah.
Okay, so she knows like the whole just backstory of like Kourtney Kardashian pre Kardashian fame.
Totally, totally. And I think those are the kind of conversations we wanted to have. And kind of the greater purpose of the show, of course, is like emergency preparedness is not sexy and it's not a topic people really want to spend a lot of time on. So, what better way to like drive awareness around emergency preparedness than have a show about emergency contacts that we sprinkle in emergency preparedness information?
Yeah, it's so true though, because I mean, I always had my mom and like my parents as my emergency contact. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I was like, you really kind of need someone that is in an emergency, they could be at you, to you in 5 minutes or less, so
Right,
you really
right.
have to kind of, it can't be mom and dad forever. And so it's such an interesting and it's a very important role for sure.
For sure.
Um,
And then you also learn like who's prepared and who's not.
right, right. Wait, so did you just do the Kourtney Kardashian episode? Did you already?
So it will air in second season. We've taped 9 episodes. Khloe Kardashian was on our first season. Tan France, our dear friend Brad Goreski. We had Benny Drama and his boyfriend Terry. We had Brooklyn Decker and her like lifelong best friend. We've had so many incredible guests, and every time we finish the interview, everyone says, oh my gosh, this was the most fun we've had, because they've never really spent that much time. Most of the time, their emergency contact is not someone who's in the public eye.
Right. And probably knows so much too. So like for the people that are listening, what's one fun nugget that you've heard from about a celebrity from their emergency contact that kind of was like, what?
So I loved Brad Goreski and Gary Janetti's interview because I found out how they met.
Oh, right.
And that whole meeting, like in Mykonos, like the whole story was so outrageous. I thought they had met in Los Angeles through friends, but like the story was just shocking.
Yeah. It's one of those meant to be situations.
Totally. Now that they're together this many years, you're like, oh, of course you met that way. But at the time, I was like, oh, I'm shook.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you were talking about season 2. Do you have any guests that are kind of like that you really want to get on the podcast?
Oh, I mean, I have a laundry list. Like, I would just kill to have Julia Roberts on. I would kill to have Reese Witherspoon on. Like, Reese, if you're listening, like, we want you. Um, like, there are so many great people who, tend to do, and I think this is the kind of the challenge of like the Instagram friendship. Like, we know who all of their famous friends are, but who's like their squad? Like, who's coming over on like a Tuesday, no makeup and sitting in their closet with them? Like, that's the EC that we're looking for.
The EC. The people who kind of like the Kourtney Kardashian's friend from back in the
High
day,
school. Yep.
from high school. Does she say like that Kourtney's just been the same all the way
Same,
through?
same,
No
same.
way.
Everyone consistently in like the 9 or 10 interviews we've done, no one has changed. Like, we had Olivia Culpo on with her sister Aurora. Like,
Mhm.
Aurora was hysterical because she was talking very like honestly and sweetly talking about how Olivia wanted this life for a really long time and worked her ass off to get it. It's very interesting to hear that perspective, like that inner coconut perspective.
Yeah, I think that is really, really interesting too, because it's like it is true. You see these people and you see they're kind of like their famous celebrity friends, but who are the ones behind the scenes? Who are the ones that you don't really know that like really, really, truly are there for the nitty
Right.
gritty?
I think the big misconception is like celebrities who are commenting on other celebrities' Instagram posts, like, happy birthday, babe. It's like they're strangers. Like, they barely know each other most of the time.
It's so true. It's so true. And I also like the peeling back the curtain too, because I think that a lot of the time, we see these things we see images and people's lives on Instagram. But at the end of the day, celebrity or not celebrity, we really are all the same and we're going through the exact same things. We have the exact same insecurities. And so I just think it's really cool to kind of peel that back and show people, and also I think too, um, you know, for me as a single girl, the emergency contact is important, you know what I
Right.
mean? Because I
Right.
don't, like I don't know, it's just I find it to be really an interesting dynamic because I have kind of thought about like, well, at what point do you change that emergency contact and,
Especially in 2020, when I think we've all realized that we are vulnerable to so many different things. I mean, the pandemic has just kind of it's shook all of us. And like now we're looking back and thinking, okay, what does our safety world look like? Like who is that emergency contact that we can count on?
yeah, so true. And like, I feel like also because of the pandemic, all of our worlds got so much smaller like, you really see who your core
Oh
are.
my gosh, like talk about the friend editing that's gone on. Like I feel like my group was so much bigger and then COVID happened and my quarantine pod was like 4 people and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, you are actually my ride or dies."
Yeah. I know. Don't you find that to be really interesting? It's like
Yeah,
our lives just went from this whirlwind to really truly showing you who the core people in your life are.
right. Who are you going to carry with like every chapter of your life? Yeah, it's been really interesting.
Super interesting. I'm just so fascinated. Okay, wait. I need to know more about the people who that you've interviewed that have significant others or like are married celebrity wise. Do you find that most of them have their spouse as their emergency contact or the opposite?
So the only actual now that I'm thinking about this, the only spouse that we had on that was married, I guess, was Brad, and Tan France had his husband Rob France on. What I loved about them is that Rob, they live in Salt Lake City, like so they're completely off the Hollywood path. And I think Rob's perspective on like how, because Queer Eye, the cast of Queer Eye became kind of overnight stars. So like,
Yeah.
what was that like for Rob, who was used to being an entrepreneur and a business owner, but then suddenly became this like global phenomenon? What was that like for him being his husband and seeing that happen in a matter of, I would say it happened in about 3 months. Queer Eye just popped.
I totally agree. And what was it? What did he say?
He said it was just this surreal moment where they would go out to dinner and suddenly he felt like 10 people in the restaurant were looking over at his table and he's like, what's going on here? Have we done something wrong? And suddenly he realizes, oh my gosh, they're looking at Tan. Like it's this like very earnest, honest, kind of raw moment that happens when kind of a regular person becomes famous. Like I think other fame trajectory, it takes a long time to
Yeah.
get to that.
I actually want to ask you this because this is something that I always think about often, and I feel like you have good friends that are very famous celebrities. Do you think that it works better when a very famous celebrity marries another very famous celebrity, or do you think it works better when a very famous celebrity marries somebody that's not so much in the public eye?
Oh, I could talk about this for hours. I think no, because this is such a, you know, so some of the people that I've become friends with over my career, the 16, 17 years, I don't think we would be friends at this level if we met when they were famous. Like I think, all of my close friends who've gone on to be TV personalities or actors or whatever, I knew them when we were all coming up together. It's a 20-year friendship. I think it's really hard as someone who is famous to find someone who's outside of the industry and for that, I don't know, to really grow a relationship when there's so many things working against you. It's like the lifestyle is just so different.
Yeah, it is
Julia
very
Roberts is a prime example though. Like she did it, but she actually doesn't live in LA.
right, right, right. Like she's not. There's like this. There's Hollywood famous and then there's in the scene Hollywood famous.
Right.
And so
Right.
I think that those are two very different trajectories.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's like influencer famous, which is like a whole other beast, which we're running from.
Which in some way it's like you need somebody that understands that world, Like I always have this conversation because I think that when you have two really famous people in a relationship, there's always some level of like your schedules are really crazy. And so it's hard to find time. And then even though you're not competing, there is this weird sense of like which one of you is more famous.
Right. Right.
But then I also think too, I say normie, when a very famous person dates like a normie,
Right.
um, they don't understand a lot of the nuances and kind of the weird part of the industry, and make them very insecure.
Well, and I also think like part of the fame game is like going out to dinner and having like all of the attention on you. And like, what does that do from a psychological perspective to your partner? Where no matter what your accomplishments are, do you feel just constantly overshadowed by this kind of like this huge star that's next to you? I think it is a tremendous challenge. I'm sure anyone who's dating a normie who is famous is definitely in therapy or should be just figuring out like how to handle it because it's a lot,
It is totally a lot.
especially in LA where like fame is like the currency.
I know. We were talking about this on the morning show because I forget who else was the other couple, but it was Zac Efron's new girlfriend. And I know she's a model, but I mean, he met her when she was waiting on his table, and so, but they seem to be thriving and doing great. So,
Right.
Might be the path. Oh, Ariana Grande and her boyfriend.
She's dating. Who is she dating?
This guy named Dalton Gomez.
Oh,
He's
yes.
He's a real estate dude. And it seems to be working out great.
Right. We'll see, though. We will see. It could go quick.
It could go quick. You never know.
You never know.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you because I feel like out of all of your, I would say like very famous friends, who would you say people would be surprised that is like the most normal?
I would say Kourtney Kardashian only because
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, she's so present and living in the moment. And also like just an incredibly involved mom.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
She comes off that way.
And same with Chrissy as well. But like, I think there are people who, it's just like different stages of different life. Like Kourtney's had kids for a long time. It's like she's kind of in the routine.
Right. I mean, it's so good. I mean, I love you. I could talk to you forever. But I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time. Everybody that's listening, you can check out Emergency Contact wherever you get your podcasts. And is it judy.com?
It's judy.co.
And you can go to judy.co to check out if you guys need any emergency kits.
Yep.
You can go right there, one click, and it's come straight to you.
Exactly.
Simon, Huck, thank you so much for joining us today. I love you very much. Good luck with everything. And I'm going to keep cheering you on.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.